Hey, railheads! We're going to have our B23-7 leading our MP15 switcher today as we work Seneca Foods. That's next on my Finger Lakes Railway layout. Well, it looks like an easy day. 2 pickups and 2 set outs at Seneca Foods. They get corn syrup loads and they ship out frozen vegetables and juice. Only problem is both spurs are facing points for the direction we normally travel. And there's going to be several ways to approach this, so let's see what our options are. I took a couple overhead shots, so maybe you guys can kind of see what we're talking about here. And if you watch a lot of operations videos, you already know all this stuff. But hey, maybe this is new to you, so I just want to talk briefly about facing points and trailing points here. I'll try to make it quick. But another thing to keep in mind at this industry is the sharp radius curve on the reefer spur. So that's up here. You can't see that too good. Let me change that to... Yeah, it's this curve here, right there. So the B23-7 can't handle that curve. So I just use a couple short little 2-bay hoppers as buffer cars. So I got the Loco back here. He stays out of that curve. And the 2 short wheelbase cars can go in there, grab a couple up and pull a car out and shove a car back in. Seems to work okay. The other option is to tear up track, and I don't want to do that. Okay, so anyway, get rid of some of that markup. I normally run my trains in a clockwise fashion like this here, and which works out fine for the salt companies. There's U.S. Salt over there, Cargill's over in this area. But when we get up here to Seneca Foods here, and like I said earlier, these 2 spurs are going to be facing points. So we got this spur here for the corn syrup cars and this sharp one here for the reefers. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit and kind of explain more about a facing point and a trailing point. So if a loco is traveling in this direction, and then you can see the open point or the end of the point there on that switch facing him as he approaches it. That's a facing point. So the way the switch is thrown now, he would be continuing on the main. We could certainly throw the switch, and then he would go up here on this spur. Let me zoom back out a little bit. So he can run up the spur with the loco and the car is behind him, but then the loco is trapped here. He can't get back out. So that's not going to work. So what else can we do? We can run the other direction. We can come in this way. And let me show you what happens when we do that. Now the loco's coming in this direction. These points are not facing them anymore. As after the train passes by, this is the last car, you see the points are facing the last car. So they're trailing the train. So that's a trailing point. And now we can throw this switch and shove back up this spur, our loco, with the cars behind it. So then we get the cars up in here, and now the loco can pull back out, uncouple and go. So that's how that works. So when we've got a situation like this, we're going to have to run around the train, unless you pick up the locomotives with your hands and take and couple them up to the other end of the train. That's not too prototypical. I don't want to do that. So we got to run around the train. Where are we going to do it? I like to do it in the yard before we get started. We also got a siding here in this area, Watkins, Glen, and we could do it here, but I'll show you why I don't think that's such a good idea. So if we're coming in this direction and now we want to run around the train, here's the siding up here running back, and this is the main. I don't know if you can see that too good. So we would have to run all the way up here with the loco going all the way past it, just so the last car could be here and we could throw a switch and run our cars back here, uncouple, come back out, throw the switch, and then go back. We'd have to shove back around the other side, the other track, all the way to about this point here is the other end of the siding, so we could get on the other track and come up behind the train. And then the thing is, now we're monkeying around down here with here's U.S. salt and here's Cargill salt, but we're not even working those industries. We're working this one. So it would just seem odd to be stuck down in here for that much time. So that's why I do the run around in the yard before we start out. Okay, let's run some trains. We got to kind of zigzag across the yard here as usual to get to our train. Dean's finally got us lined for our train on yard 4. And we won't need to jockey any cars around this time. It looks like we got them all. There's our 2 buffer cars on the tail end, which will be the front end here in a minute. We'll uncouple here and do our runaround on the siding. We're shoving back light power on the siding now. Deanie's lining us for the main. One more switch. Now here I'm switching the direction of the train in order to keep the throttle orientation the same. I want forward to always be when I move the reverser handle to the right so I don't get mixed up. In my imagination, this is the point where the crew gets out of the switcher and into the cab of the B-23. Well, here we are at Seneca Foods, and Dean's going to catch up with the shipping manager. So let's look at a few things on the layout while we're waiting. So here's a tree I found on my daily 1-mile walk. I thought it has some pretty cool personality. This is the Seneca microbrew on the edge of town. It's not new, just the tree is. And not bad for free, and it was already weathered when I got it. This is a little farther out of town. Another tree I found laying on the sidewalk. I might have shown you this before, I don't know, but it's a little mini Prince deer skull. You'd never see it if you didn't know it was there. But this really reminds me of my youth. I spent a lot of time roaming the woods and fields on the farm, and I found lots of deer skulls and a ton of woodchuck skulls. That sign says Cotton Hanlon. They owned a lot of woods. They had a big sawmill operation. And another mini Prince. This one's a bald eagle. We got quite a few around the Finger Lakes region now. There weren't any when I left there in 1989, but one of those things they've repopulated, so that's pretty cool. Hey, here comes our train. They're running across the road to clear the switch, and then they'll shove back on that corn syrup spur. We're going to couple our full corn syrup car to that empty one for now and leave them both there while we switch to the reefer spur. Oh, I had a viewer ask me about my uncoupling tool. It's just a used micro brush. I drill a hole in a dowel and glue it in there, and I carve the point so it's kind of flat. And I took my HO scale ruler and marked out 20, 10, and 5 scale feet for when I'm counting the engineer back to the couple or switch. Leon's cleared the switch. And now Dean's got us lined for the reefer spur. Well guys, this video was getting too long. It was going like 48 minutes, so I decided to cut it right here, cut it into 2 parts. So this will be part 1, and we'll pick up here next time with part 2 on my Finger Lakes Railway layout. So hey, thanks for watching. Take care.